Well, I caught a bass, first cast. Not necessarily the size I was looking for. Well, there we go. Bass number 1 for the day. Let's hope they get a little bit bigger than that. So my plan today was pretty simple. It's April the 3rd, which means bass season has started. For those of you that like to keep a bass for dinner. So I thought, why not? I'll pop down the back of Hengistby Head, fish the run, fish into Muddyford Run, and see if I can winkle out a bass for dinner. However, I woke up this morning and it was blowing a hoolie with potential showers. But that didn't put me off. So I walked all the way down the back of the head. And what has put me off from fishing where I wanted to fish was the flood water coming down the harbour. Just this brown, horrible, tons and tons and tons of fresh water. So I just didn't fancy that at all. So I've come round the corner a little bit and I'm going to fish into the open sea. There's a lovely big surf running. It's quite funny at the back of the head here. The surf runs sort of right to left. It runs across you rather than sort of coming in at you like a traditional surf beach. And tactics are super simple. Bit of crab on the end of a 2-0 circle hook. Quite a short earth actually, because it's quite rough and choppy out there. With a lead at the end. That is it. Single hook, crab on, and just chuck it into the surf really. Hope for a bass. I whip my crab up into a sausage on the 2-prong bait tool. And I put loads of elastic around one end and then just hook it lightly on the circle. So it's almost like fishing a sort of a dongle rig, but just hooked on once. That way you got maximum exposure with a circle hook, which is really key when you're fishing with circle hooks. So we can see that sort of wave, that surf running right to left here, which is quite nice actually, because I've got a nice long table to chuck it into. I don't know how easy it is to pick up, the light's rubbish, isn't it? But just out in front of us there's a bit of white water. So all I'm going to do is just plop this into that. Possibly a little bit too far actually, but I can always twitch it back. But there we go, we are fishing. Bring on the bass. I've got to say, it does look bassy. It really does. Coming out the run there is just horrible brown, nasty fresh water. I'm not saying bass don't like fresh water. It just didn't really appeal to me. It didn't fill me with confidence. I came around the corner here and you can just see a line more or less where the end of this sort of surf is. So you've got all the seawater hitting this sandbar here. You've got the fresh water coming down the channel, seawater here. I just fancy this, I really do fancy this. So there's going to be an awful lot of movement on the tip of the rod here, where I've got the waves crashing over the line and that sort of thing. I'm just sort of looking for a slightly different erratic movement, break up in the pattern of the waves. And I'll probably, if I do see something that I think looks a bit different, just pick up my rod and just see if I can feel the fish. That looked a bit different. Another small one. That's 2 and 2 casts. In fact, this one's even smaller. Not quite the size of the fish I was hoping to catch. And it started to rain again. There's fish there. It only needs one decent one to make a session, doesn't it? This isn't the nice spring bassing session I'd hoped for. When are we going to get a break in the weather? Yeah, it could be a fish, this one. Could be a fish. With the size of the fish and the sideways waves, it's not actually easy to tell. I'm sure if I get a big one, I'll know. Pesky things. Go and get your mummy. Kind of wish I'd brought some mackerel heads with me. You know, I'm happy with the location. I just wondered if a big mackerel head would pick out the better sized fish. Blimey. Sun's actually come out. Oh, I've got rain all over my glasses. So what are your guys' opinions? And this is, not right or wrong, so there'll be no criticism of anybody's opinions, unless you disagree with mine and then you're wrong. No, but seriously, what's people's opinions on fish size limits, bans, all this sort of thing? So we've just come out of a 2-month period where we're not allowed to keep any bass, and now we're into the period where we're allowed to keep 2 per day and a minimum of 42 centimetres. Personally, I think the 2 per day thing is fine. In fact, I'd love to see bag limits introduced to all species. I really don't see why we're putting so much effort into bass, which is probably one of the most healthiest stocks of fish that I know of, and yet we're just ignoring everything else. So I'd like to see bag limits put on all fish, and I think I'd like to see maximum size limits. That could be controversial, but if you catch let's say I catch a £10 bass, I'm not going to, we all know that before you say anything, but if you catch a £10 bass, I'm not keeping that fish. That is a big fish. It's a very old fish. For starters, it's not going to taste as nice as a nice little £2-3 fish. And secondly, that produces millions of eggs. Okay, that's a massive breeding fish. So maybe a minimum maximum. I don't know what, 42 to 52 or something. I don't know. I haven't looked into the actual sizes, so don't quote me on that one. But so I'd like to see bag limits put on all fish, including things like mackerel, and a minimum and maximum sizes. Personally, I don't like the ban period. I know why it's there, and at least it does sort of cover everybody as well. But to stop a man, or lady, sorry, that was rather sexist of me, to stop a person just popping down the beach and catching a little bass for their dinner, I don't know, just something doesn't quite sit right with me on that one. That's my opinions. What's yours? I'm starting to think it might be the same one I'm catching over and over again. Look, it's huge. Well, that's slightly better. We're moving in the right direction. There we go, slightly better one, still undersized. But breaks up the monotony of all those tiny ones. Just get it straight back though, because it is undersized. I'm rapidly running out of crab. I didn't expect to catch so many small bass, but there we go. Can't decide whether to leave this spot, because it just seems to be small bass, and actually go back in the harbour, have a go in there. Hopefully the tide will start flooding in a minute, which might counteract the freshwater flood that's coming down. See if there's a slightly bigger one in there. It's not gone so slack. Neatly slack. There we go. Always perfectly hooked with circles. There we go. A nice chunky fish. Not a giant, but a sizable one. So I'm going to take that one for dinner. The season has begun, people. The season has begun. Beautiful. Oh yeah, and again, straight away. Only just cast that out. Woohoo! 2 in 2 minutes. Again, perfectly hooked. Not quite as big as the other one. This one's going to go back. I'll only keep the one anyway, that's enough for dinner. But that's a slightly better stand for fish again. Lovely jubbly, 2 and 2. Wow, boy am I glad I didn't move. And the sun's come out. I don't know what it is about low water, but I just love fishing for bass at low water. I really do. It makes reading the water so much easier as well. I can see the sort of the deeper bits and the shallow bits, and where the waves are breaking, where they're not breaking. So I'm just sort of picking and choosing my locations. And those 2 fish actually came from a slight move. So I've been casting ever so slightly to my left into a sort of a patch of sort of white water, what looked to me like a slightly deeper in between the really, really shallow bit. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to chuck it over to the right, because it's definitely deeper over there, and actually just moving away from the white water a little bit, just on the back end of it. And there's 2 cracking bass. So I've stayed in the same spot, but I've moved where I put my bait, and it paid off. Oh, the bass are feeding, the sun is shining. Life is good again. What have we got this time? Oh, a bit of Dorset. Oh no! I found a snag. Oh, we're out. We're out. Guys! Would anybody like to guess what my snag was? But that's not a bass. That's a flounder. Something else that loves crab. Spring flounders. And again, not deeply hooked, which is always a bonus with flatfish, isn't it? There we go. Bonus little flounder. Quite pleased to see that, actually. I don't do a lot of flounder fishing. Haven't caught a flounder for quite a while. Have I got a flounder on the species list? I must have done. I don't know, I'll have to check that. This could be species number 30. No, I've got a flounder. No, I have got a flounder. Cancel that, I was just getting excited, sorry. Anyway, let's put him back. What a great little session this is turning out to be. Started off with all the little things, which, you know, not what I wanted size-wise, but it was just nice to catch some fish in daytime. A slight change of angle on the cast, and two sizable bass and a nice flounder. And the sun's out. Cool. I might buy a lottery ticket tonight. I'm having a great time. What's going on there? Turned around and it looked a bit different. Got a bit slack again. Ooh, bit of weight on there again. And another one. That's 4 beautiful fish and 4 casts, all within half an hour. What a session. Loving it. I think one of the main reasons I'm enjoying this session so much now, aside from the fact I'm catching fish, okay, that's the main reason. The other main reason is the fact that it's just so simple. I love fishing simple. I love fishing with those little earth bars, a length of line, a single hook, simple bait, flicking it out into the sea, lighter sleds. Oh, was that a bite? Did I miss one there, guys? We'll worry about that in a minute. What was I saying? Oh yeah, just the simplicity. I love fishing simple. I love fishing light. I love fishing single baits. And I think the key to it is just being in the right place at the right time. Now, I can't claim some kind of fishing knowledge brilliance there, can I? Because actually, I planned to fish over there, and I was kind of forced around here with the conditions. Perhaps maybe the fishing god is just smiling on me today. But right place, the right time, with the right bait, you can fish as simple as you like with a nice light setup. Loads of fun. Now, was that actually a bite, or did I just catch it out the corner of my eye? Everything out the corner of your eye is a bite, isn't it? Let's be honest. Oh no, I think it might have been a bite. Feels like a bit of weight on there again. This is one after the other. This is incredible. There isn't half-hour gaps in between these fish. There are 4 or 5 minutes in between each fish. It's brilliant. Here she comes. Hey. There we go. Not quite as big again as the better of the two I've had so far, but lovely fish. Loads of fun. And that was only out there for a few minutes. And yes, the circle hook is perfectly hooked in the corner of the mouth. Right, let's get her back. This is great. I'm just expecting a fish every cast now. No, the sun is so glorious. I'm going to take my coat off. But I think we've only got it for about a minute or two. And then there's more clouds, but I don't care about that anymore. I'm catching fish. I don't know if you can see in the background, but there's huge amounts of gulls hanging over the over Muddyford Run over there. And they're actually there for a specific run that you normally get. The first run usually coincides with Easter holidays, actually. It's not smelt or herring or anything like that you probably guys are thinking. It's actually the first run of chips this year. All the people on the quay chucking chips in. One of nature's wonders. I think I might have missed one. Oh, a cast without a fish. Outrageous. It's been nearly 10 minutes since my last fish. At least I've got my bait still. I'm going to save that because I'm running out of bait. I'm going to put my fresh crab on, and then when I'm run out of bait, if I still want to carry on fishing, I can use my old bait. So I've just gutted and cleaned the bass that I'm keeping for dinner. Needless to say, it was full of crabs. Wonder why I use crab as bait. Well, if you've not seen me using the earth rig before, let me just quickly show you what that is. And this is incredibly simple. Actually, let me get a weight first. Right. We have an earth bar. That's URFE. Very simple. Swivel at the top, which we attach our line to from the rod, and a clip at the bottom, which we attach our lead to. Okay. In the middle of our earth bar is a simple swivel, to which I've tied 3 foot of line. This is 040 fluorocarbon, to which I've attached a 2.0 Tronix Pro T22 circle, not my normal T25, because they're out of stock. So I bought some T22s, and guess what? They work just as well. And I attach it using a Perfection loop. And that is it. Super, super, super simple. I will tie a load of these up and stick them in the shop and stick them on the website. So if you're unsure on how to do that, then by all means buy one. Don't buy loads. I'd like you to buy one and then copy it, because they're really easy to make. Okay? But I'll sort of stick some in the shop and we'll stick some online, and you can have a little look at Tom's bass rig. It's really easy. Oh, that looks like a little bit livelier. Ooh, bit of weight to that one. Come on, baby. Here she comes. Oh, chunk. That's a chunk. That's the best of the day, I think. Let's stick that on the stick, hang on. There we go, 51 centimetres, that one. What a beaut. What a day. I've already got my one in the bag though, so this girl's going back. I think we got a fish on. After my last cast, no fish. If there's a fish on this, I'm going to make this my last cast, because this is actually my last bit of crab other than my leftovers, and I've had a brilliant session, so I don't think I need to go down the route of flogging my leftovers. There she is. Only a little one again. Slightly smaller one to end the session with, but I don't care. I've had an absolutely wonderful couple of hours in the sunshine, catching bass and a bonus flounder, and I've absolutely loved it. Thanks guys.